Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, and welcome to my One Piece review, chapter 811, titled Roko. Not to be confused, of course, with Raku, which is Japanese for sex. I mean, six. Yeah, same thing. First off, if you have no idea why I'm doing this, like, holy crap, Tekking, why are you talking about One Piece? You're breaking the laws of nature here, man. You're only supposed to talk about Bleach. Go watch this video right here, and that should pretty much set you straight on why I'm doing this and the new schedule of everything for 2016. So this will be 811. This is the last chapter released last year in 2015, which the new one should be coming out the week of the 10th. So next week around this time, if everything goes as planned and no one else gets arrested, we should be good. All right, so chapter continues on with the flashback with Sanji and Nami's group arriving on Zou 10 days ago at the same time, the fighting was going on around Dressrosa. So we actually focus on Caesar a lot in this one, which I'm really glad we're doing, because Caesar, I mean, I guess I'm always attracted to the mad scientist type in manga, because we have Mayuri, who's my favorite captain in Bleach, and we have Caesar Clown here, who I genuinely find very entertaining. I like the Punk Hazard arc. I thought he was a pretty cool villain, and even now that he's been shackled and restrained, he still gets that air of mad scientistness out there, because he's witnessing pretty much the entire country being destroyed or killed by his gas weapon, and of course he's just snickering to himself like, oh my god, my gas is the one that did this. I'm the one that completely genocided this nation. Woo, I'm so awesome. So he's stating that this gas is actually called Koru, or Korosu, which is just Japanese for kill, and it was a mass slaughter weapon of his own design. Keep this in mind, because this is kind of important later on. Sanji, and particularly Chopper's reaction to this, is probably something, as you can figure, the same way Chopper got pissed off when Caesar was experimenting on little kids back on Punk Hazard. He goes apeshit. He just starts basically smacking at him, just like, I can't believe you did something this horrible, you're the one that caused the suffering for this people, so neutralize it with your powers, god damn it, essentially. Which of course, I guess they're not, Sanji's still going around smoking his cigarette, and Chopper doesn't really have any kind of facial protection. He's wearing like a football mask sort of thing, like with the guards in front of it, but, they're not really wearing anything to protect them against the gas, so I don't know if Caesar's doing something to prevent them, or it's just they're not into the main part of the country yet. Well, anyway, Caesar just gets up, and he just kind of starts to talk back to them. He's like, oh, don't you start that. You don't know who's in the right here. The world's a little bit more complicated than blah, blah, blah. And of course, this is where we cut right to where we were in, I think, chapter 795. Remember back right when we were kind of wrapping up Dressrosa, we cut away very briefly for only like half of a chapter on what was going on with Sanji's group, and that was when, Sheepshed was defeated by Brook, and we had the eruption rain, and we didn't really know what the hell was going on then. We knew that the Straw Hats were looking for some girl that was being chased after by the Jack's crew, but we had no idea who they were. Well, in this chapter, we get the full story with that. So we open up with that, and then we get the eruption rain, and that just washes everyone away, and that's the first time I think they've experienced this. And Sanji just kind of looks at Caesar, and he's like, you better have this shit cleaned up before I get back, and he pulls out his heart, and, I'll just kill you if you don't. So that's where we, catch up to chapter 795. We have Sheepshed show up, Sanji uses his Diablo Jambi against that, defeats him. The woman's like, wait, Sheepshed was defeated. And that just kind of, go back and read chapter 795 if you want the full story on what's going on with that. Well, anyway, meanwhile, we see what's up with Caesar, and he's using his powers of the gas fruit to negate the effects of his Korosu gas. He's using the reversal, which is Koro, which is Roko, which is the reverse syllables of kill, and that just basically just emits another gas that counteracts that gas, and Chopper notices that it's being diluted enough that he can breathe on his own, and everybody seems to be, back, that they were like unconscious before, but now they're coming back to consciousness, they're coughing and shit, so they're still in trouble, but the gas is dissipated to the point where, they can maneuver and they can actually help the minks now. So everyone just kind of gathers here and witnesses what's all going on. Nami, Brook, Momosuke, and Sanji, and they're witnessing all the death and disaster that plagues the kingdom because of Jack's crew. And they attack them very briefly. Wanda is one of them. She shows up out of nowhere and attacks Nami, but she's weakened to the point where Nami can just fend her off on her own, so she kind of knocks Wanda down, and she's just tears in her eyes, and she's just freaking out, like, why are you still here slaughtering people? The samurai's not here. The ninjas or whoever you're looking for is not here. And yeah, they've been calling them samurai constantly, but it was a ninja, right? It was Raizo. That's the one that they're looking for, but whatever. Anyway, Yeah, just that makes loads of sense why a ninja is part of a samurai country, right? Particularly since historically the ninjas were actually the enemies of the samurai, but whatever. Well, anyway, after a couple of misunderstandings, they kind of understand that they are not parts of Jack's crew. The minks learn to trust the Straw Hats. They're the ones that dissipated the gas and everything, and they're not affiliated with Jack at all. And they begin the recovery operation. Chopper goes around and starts, we got to treat these people's wounds. And Caesar states that the gas that was administered, the Kurosu gas, has a 48-hour period where if the antidote is not administered within 2 days, the subject will die. And over 24 hours have passed since the gas has afflicted the minks. Okay, I have a bit of a problem with this, and I don't even know where to begin with this fucking thing. Okay, so you have Caesar Clown, which I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Caesar Clown, kind of a demented, sadistic motherfucker, invents a gas that he has such pride in its lethality that he actually calls it Kurosu. It just means kill. Basically, you're just calling it kill gas. And he himself stated it's a mass slaughtering weapon. So he has this really lethal weapon called kill gas, and it takes 48 hours to kill something. And actually, it might even be more than that, because he just said that 48 hours is the deadline for the antidote. If the antidote is not administered within that time, you're dead. It'll be impossible to treat. But so it might take even longer to kill you than the 48 hours. That's just the deadline for the antidote. And they've already exposed to it for 24 hours, and the minks, Wanda could still move around just fine. The other ones, they don't look like they're moving around very much, but they're certainly not dead yet. So I just want to know, it just doesn't make any sense. Given Caesar's personality, it's not like he would, I'm going to call it kill gas, but it's really just going to have a more minimal effect. He's freaking Caesar Clown. He's going to invent a gas that's designed to genocide a group of people and then sell it off to the highest bidder. That's what he does. He's a freaking underworld broker or whatever. So I'm so confused by that, there's a lot of historical examples I can give here, but probably the most, the one I'm going to go with is a gas called Zyklon B. And this gas was used in World War II by the Nazis in Germany, and it was used in the concentration camps and internment camps, and it was the gas that they used to kill the prisoners in the gas chambers. Zyklon B was very effective in killing the people in a few minutes. And I know this is great. Here's a One Piece review. Let's talk about the Holocaust. But no, seriously, this was a gas that could drop a very healthy adult male in a matter of minutes if they inhaled it, And even if they didn't inhale it, it can get on your skin. It can fuck you up no matter what. Even if you're just getting exposed to it is going to cause some serious side effects here. And then, and it's funny because Zyklon B wasn't even designed to be a gas that kills you. It was developed as like a pesticide or something that the Nazis just modified or whatever. But, that's a gas that gets the job done. And then you have Caesar Clown here that takes time out of his day using the gas fruit powers and his magic and his infinite knowledge of chemistry and everything as a mad scientist to create a gas so lethal, he calls it kill gas. And it takes over 48 hours to kill its intended target after it's been, after they've been exposed to it. I just don't get that. That just seems like maybe Oda didn't want to have the entire Ming tribe genocided. Okay, fair enough. But have it be like the paralysis gas, or that KYB shit that the Yeti Cool brothers used on Punk Hazard. Remember that? Like the drunk gas, use something like that, A gas that's designed to kill you and it takes that long to kill something. And even you might be saying maybe they're minks, so it's not the same as humans. Minks are maybe a little bit more stronger than humans, so that's why it takes time. No, Caesar still says 48 hours deadline for the antidote. So, I don't know, unless he tested this on minks before, which I don't think he has, but anyway, that's beyond the point. That's just my, problem I have with it. But Chopper and Caesar get to work on making the cure. Nami reassures Wanda that they're going to cure everybody, and they just get a montage of them going around, and this is when they went and cured, and, they cut Nekomaschiri and the Duke. I forget his name. It's Inu something, which means dog. Inu Rashi, maybe? But anyway, they cut him down. They cut them all down. And they administer the antidote into all the minks, and the minks are just kind of casually watching them as the Straw Hats are, they're probably staying up for a very long time because they look physically exhausted after all this. taking time to cure all the minks. But eventually they do get better. Everybody has their treatments that they're going on. And then we flash forward to the present where we are right now. They're still in the Duke's bed chambers. The Duke is now asleep, and they're retelling the story to Luffy and Frankie and everybody. And Frankie's reaction is great. He's like, oh man, I'm so proud to be a friggin' Straw Hat, guys. This is awesome. You guys are what makes life worth living, So now, though, because it's nighttime, Chopper states that he's going to go over to the forest area to visit Nekomamushi, the cat lord, and then treat his wounds and see how he's doing. And he asks, if you guys want to come with me, and they say yes. Luffy and Frankie's going to go with them. And Wanda says they're going to accompany them as well. And Wanda is apparently something called a ruler's bird, which allows her to travel between. She's basically like a messenger. She can travel back and forth between two kingdoms without having problems, which makes sense because even though this is like there's two different separate kingdoms, there's still there's just one island that they have to share. So it would make sense that there's some sort of communication back and forth here. So she says she's going to accompany them, and they get the big crocodiles that traverse the land. And Luffy's, of course, he wants to meet Nekomamushi, and then Brook is apparently very well acquainted with him as well. So they all head out. And as they're heading out, this is something that doesn't really mean a lot right now, but they say that tonight's a full moon, and we get to see the clouds that are being obscuring the full moon. And apparently that's lucky. They say, it's very lucky the clouds are covering it. So I don't know if that's going to mean something when they get to Nekomamushi's palace or whatever he's living at, that the full moon's going to affect him in some way. I mean, he is a cat and all, but we'll see how that pans out. They only have that one line of dialogue, and they don't really mention it after that. Well, anyway, as they're riding on these crocodiles to the other kingdom, Brooks just kind of strumming his guitar, and talking, and Luffy and Luffy and Zoro at the same time, they kind of figure out, the story you were telling, you didn't get to the point where Sanji left yet, and Caesar Clown is still there as well, and obviously Caesar's not around anymore either. So they're like, okay, tell us the rest of the story. And Brooks basically I love it. He's like this old a bard basically. He's just strumming his guitar. He's like, allow me to tell you a tale, my friends. So he says that event that occurred 2 days ago is where Sanji and Caesar disappeared from this country was something kind of like an unrelated incident. It had nothing to do with the Minks or, I guess, Jack's attack or anything like that. And they didn't want to tell the Minks what happened because they had enough on their plate and they were already recovering from a battle. They didn't want to worry them further. Although I would be curious that they would question, what happened to the blonde guy and the mad scientist dude? They just disappeared all of a sudden. Oh no, they just went out to go get soda. They'll be back by nightfall. I don't know. But Brook just sits there and he's like, okay, steel yourselves, friends, as I tell you the tale. And he states that it may be very well true that Sanji is not going to be able to return them at all. And this, of course, is something they just keep beating around the bush with this. I love this. It's like, he sent a letter that he'd be back, but he's not going to be able to return to us. No, but he sent the letter. Yeah, but it's really possible he might not be able to come back. Luffy's just like, just tell us what happened. God damn it. So here's the story, at least the start of the story. We're probably going to continue with it at the beginning of this year. We're going to continue on with the story of how Sanji left Zou. But Brook brings up the fact, or maybe it's Nami, the one telling the story. I would assume it's Brook. He's the one, giving the bardic lore shit. So basically, Zou is one of those phantasmal islands, an island that does not point to directly with a normal log pose. I guess even with a New World log pose, you're probably not going to find Zou since it's a moving island. Although I guess you could still do it with an eternal pose that Law had, because it's still technically land just on top of an elephant, so I guess it would still have a magnetic pole. Well, so normally though you're not going to find Zou. However, when they escaped Big Mom's ship, remember, it was Luffy, I guess, over the Den Mushi that was telling them, hey guys, head to Zou. Apparently, Big Mom's pirate crew heard that over the Den Mushi. They found out they were heading to Zou. So even though the Straw Hats got away from Big Mom, I'm assuming they used coup de burst or whatever, they got away from the initial attack, they found out where they were heading. So even though Zou is a phantasmal island that you can't really find normally, first off, I mean, we're talking about one of the four emperors here. Even if Big Mom was not on the ship, which I can guarantee she probably wasn't, but even if Big Mom was not on the ship, you still have all her pirate crew, which are working directly under one of the four emperors. I'm sure they could find their way to any island they wanted to, really. So basically, it was actually, though, because that there were 2 members on Big Mom's ship that were part of Zoe. They were originally descendants of Zoe, or they came from the kingdom, and they didn't know this. Brooke and the others didn't even know this. So 2 days ago, Big Mom's ship came a-calling. It landed at Zoe. And then we have the last scene of the chapter where we see Pecoms, the lion dude, talking on the Den Den Mushi to Big Mom, which I guess would confirm that she's not on the ship, stating that they've arrived at Zoe. Only 2 of them should be enough to take care of the problems with the Straw Hats, and he says, like, leave this to me because Zoe is my homeland. We don't know who the other person is that's going to be heading ashore. I don't know if it would be Tamago, because Tamago and Pecoms are kind of the people that work together. You know, they're kind of a group. Every time we see one, we see the other one. But it's quite possible that maybe we have another member of the Zoe Kingdom on the ship, or it might be just another member of the Big Mom Pirates we haven't seen yet. But Pecoms is landing there. Remember, Pecoms ate a devil fruit that allows him to turn into a turtle. So that's a thing. We were always curious, was he a turtle with a lion fruit or a lion with a turtle fruit? But no, he was the lion with the turtle fruit. And we do not know who the other member is. But that's how it ends. And we'll probably be continuing this flashback coming up next week with the next chapter, which will be the year of Sanji's kicking off. So we're probably going to start off with that, finding out what's going on. Now, I could sit here for even longer and explain all the different theories that are out there about what the fuck is up with Sanji. But I'm actually going to make a whole separate video for that, because there's many different theories out there what's going on with Sanji. Not just theories that have popped up as soon as we found out, you know, about his wanted poster and everything, but just theories in general that have been out for years. So I'm going to make kind of like a compilation video. I'm going to be making a video about all the different theories, and I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are on them, what I personally think is up with Sanji. So I'll leave that for that video. But, so that's my review. This was just a test. You know, I did the last review of the last chapter. This isn't so much to get a lot of views or anything. This is more of just a test to see what you guys think of this new reviewing style. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different when I'm actually doing, you know, reviews, because when they come out the same day or same week. This one's obviously been out for a while now, so I had a lot more time to analyze it, and the excitement's kind of worn off. But when the next chapter comes out, it'll be more of something you can expect for the rest of the year. But leave me your feedback, seriously. Let me know what you think, if the video was, you know, good, if you like the way I mentioned things, or my tangents, if you hate that, or if just if it's too long, you want something a little bit more shorter and brief. I don't know. I don't want to seem like I'm ripping off other people's style, because I know, like, For Never and Double Four and, you know, pretty much every other reviewer talks in this style. So I guess I can't be really ripping anybody off here, but let me know what you think below on what's going to happen next. So thanks for everybody for watching. Tekking101 signing out.